Hey guys, Ken Ray with Swift Chip here, and today I'm going to talk to you guys a bit about disinformation campaigns. So, have you ever seen an article with a really dramatic title, but the article itself was totally unrelated? This is called clickbait, and that's a good example of how some cyber criminals are taking advantage of large scale media platforms to distribute disinformation campaigns and confuse and mislead various audiences. So let me give you some examples of different types of disinformation to look out for. There's fabricated content, which is just totally untrue, fake news, right? Manipulated content. So it might be referring to something that actually did occur, but it's content, the words, the images, the videos, they've been edited or distorted in some way. It could be imposter content, which is content that claims it came from, say, the New York Times, and it's actually completely made up by some third party. Could be misleading content, some content that presents actual information, but in a misleading way. We see that a lot with various different polls and lots of different metrics and numbers and things like that. Um, Maybe we'll see false content or false context by connection, right? So it's content that's legitimate, but you take two different pieces of legitimate content and connect them in a completely false way and make it seem like there's a connection there that shouldn't be, right? So maybe it's connected to what we say correlation is not causation. Well, some people will deliberately make a correlation between two different events to try to convince you that something is true when it's not. And of course, we see lots of satire and parody stuff out there that unfortunately is not always so obvious. Lots of people every day still fall for the onion. So here's a few methods you can use to combat disinformation. First, always consider the source. Do they post primary sources on there? It can't be my mom's friend worked in a hospital and heard from a doctor, right? You want to see it posted with links back to the actual data itself. So maybe it is actually posted by a doctor. Great. Okay. Maybe they've got some credentials. Doesn't mean they actually know what they're talking about. Doesn't mean they're always right. But we want to make sure that they're referencing the source data so we can always go back and reference it ourselves and see if it makes sense and is true. Credible news sources will always cite where their information came from, but always fact checked as well. So if someone says so and so died, a quick Google search might show that that's not the case, right? There's so much disinformation out there in general. We just have to be a little bit more responsible before we spread it around, even accidentally, and even if we mean well. Anyway, take care and be safe out there.